Hey, welcome today to the Coastline Podcast. This is our opportunity to share with you the stories of our church family. People with the past, people who've made mistakes, people who have regrets, people who've learned incredibly valuable life lessons. It's all about God taking people's story and redeeming it for His glory. So we're going to get honest, we're going to get real, we're going to get vulnerable, and it's going to be transparent. So join us today on this episode of our Coastline Podcast.
Hi, Coastline fam. Welcome back to another edition of the Coastline Connections podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Beebe, and I'm so excited today. Normally, I have had one guest up here, but today we have two. And these are two very important people here at Coastline. These are two people that had such a part to play in building Coastline that who knows if we'd have it without them. You've seen their faces around church. Please welcome Dave and Susan Barth. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
So you guys are both on the board, and we were kind of behind the scenes going over your other roles that you have here, and I'm just going to let you explain them because I know it's going to mess them up. So Susan, seen you lead the women in small groups, but officially you are the
women's co-coordinator of the women's ministry.
So all the fun women's events that we've had over the years, the dinners, the speaking events, the small groups, some of the lunches, you have kind of been behind the scenes and leading the charge for that.
Correct. And part of the responsibility is also to recruit and train leaders and to empower them and to come alongside them during the semester just to kind of say, hey, we're here for you. So there is a lot of behind the scenes that people don't recognize, but it has been my heart to just serve the women of this church for a really long time.
So how long have you been doing that?
So it was originally Shay Moore and myself, and that was about 5 years ago. And then Shay stepped off, and then Lori Gilson has joined, who's phenomenal. Both women are phenomenal. So it's nice to have a partner to do it with and not to just be feeling like you're doing it on your own. So it's been really a blessing, for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of women at this church, and these groups, I feel like these groups, these lunches or dinners or events, like they keep growing.
Right.
So I can't imagine doing that on your own. But I do have to say those are some of the things that hooked me into wanting to connect deeper were specifically those events, specifically your leadership. Dave, I'm going to get to you in a second, but I just can't stop singing your wife's praises. I love her so much. And I do want to say, I remember the first time that I walked into a small group, Shay, your former co-leader, had actually grabbed me after some women's event. And she's like, hey, do you have a small group? I was like, no, I'm not looking for one. And she talked me into it. And so I showed up on a Wednesday night, walked into church, didn't know where to go or who. And you were like, oh, hey, Sarah, come on over. And I was like, how do you even know my name? I didn't feel like I existed or seen. And you were one of the first people to like see me, to know my name. And I will never forget that because something that small, Susan, that made a big deal to me. And I don't know if I ever expressed that to you, but I know I'm not the only one. I know that I'm speaking for so many women here that you're that important to us. So thank you.
Thank you.
So now let's meet Mr. Susan. Dave Barth. Okay, right. So you are on the, so you're on the board, but you were saying you were a trustee at first?
I was on the elder board when they were called elders, and it transferred over to a trustee board.
Do you like that name better?
It serves its purpose, both of them. Yeah. But for 15 years. And me and a couple other guys that are still on the board hired Aaron. So it's been a blessing to see the blessing just unfold after we hired him literally 15 years ago. But also on the board for the Coastline Dream Center. And it all started with the orphanage we bought down in Mexico about 9 years ago. And that orphanage turned into a faith-based home. And now it's turned into an adoption center. We had 8 of those little kiddos down there being adopted by the work that God is doing through the Coastline people, our caretakers, and just seeing the kids change to be adoptable coming from the streets of Tijuana.
Can you imagine all the stuff you're saying right now? Can you imagine this coming to life, all those years ago, what you guys were starting?
Well, we started it here locally, but Aaron really fit in well. Aaron came from the LA Dream Center. So Coastline from the beginning always had an outreach program. In the beginning, Coastline had 14 small ministries that we sponsored around the world, about $100 each a month. That's all we could afford. Oh. Then Aaron just latched onto that. And so the first 4 or 5 years here, he raised over $600,000 to buy our own home in Mexico.
Oh my gosh.
So once a month, our team goes down there from the beaches of Tijuana to Alomar that we work with, sending kids to school. So in our orphanage, which is now the Niños de Fe, we set up a scholarship fund. So we talk to the kids when they're about 12 or 13 years old, find out what their dreams are, the desires are. These are things they never thought they could do.
Yeah.
And we build a plan. And we're sending them to school, helping them get jobs to fulfill their dreams. So that's what Coastline stands for, is outreach. It's not church on Sundays. It's church 7 days a week, wherever your heart takes you.
And that's why I think your guys' role has also been so important. And we'll get more into actually Coastline and the rock that was here and finding Aaron, but knowing that Aaron was the one and praying over that and, that whole thing. So we will get there because, again, like each person has a role to play, and taking that leap of faith, praying on each decision, to see what it's led to is absolutely beautiful, incredible. And I'm so honored to watch it and be a part of a church that has a heart like that. But let's go back a little bit before we get to the now. Let's go back. I have a couple icebreakers for you guys, and then I want to get to know all about your love story a little bit. So, Susan, if it was Dave's birthday and you had to make him his favorite meal, and then the perfect cake, you had to bake or buy the perfect cake, the flavor on the inside, the frosting on the outside, what's the dinner going to be? A dream dinner for Dave, and what cake are you going to get him?
He's a pretty simple person to please, so there wouldn't be anything elaborate. But we would probably actually grill something on the barbecue. The famous Susan salad.
Which is?
It's just a dressing with a bunch of yummy vegetables. And many people in this church have actually had it. Ask Steve Gaspari. Anyway, and then probably some grilled vegetable or something. But I'll tell you what the cake would be for sure. It would be carrot cake. I'm not sure I'd make it. I'd probably go to Susie Cakes.
With raisins or without raisins?
Whatever. No, I don't make it with raisins, but and actually Susie Cakes really does a better job than what Susan Barth could do.
How'd she do? Did she nail it? Did she leave anything out?
She's been nailing that same recipe and everything for 43 years in June. So pretty simple guy with simple taste.
There we go.
And a beautiful wife. So I'm pretty happy.
Okay, so let's say that it's your beautiful wife's birthday and you're surprising her and going to take her on a vacation to a destination of her dreams. Where are you going to take her?
It would include golf clubs.
Of course it would.
Okay.
It would include many rounds of golf. We're talking about going to Scotland next year. So it'd probably be Scotland to play some golf and have our family join us.
How's that sound, Susan? Did he nail it?
Perfect.
Lovely. All right, so final little question here. How long have you guys been married?
It'll be 43 years, June 12th.
Yeah.
A month from now.
Okay, so let's go back to
Oh, we don't really want to go there.
to your love story. Okay. Well, can I ask who asked who out first?
It was a blind date that I will just say up front, because needs to be PG. It was a disaster. I'll just leave it at that. But the gal that set us up said the Monday morning at work, she goes, "You just really have to give him another chance." I said, "Why?" She goes, "You just do. You just do." And so I did. And from there, he was a different person the second date. And so, and here we are 43 years later. Yeah.
Sound about right, Dave?
Yeah, let's keep it.
Yeah.
One, I can't believe I'm sitting here in church and we're telling this story. It was
Well, there's no details.
it was a blind date.
Yeah.
And I thank God every day for that blind date.
Yeah.
I thank my friends that put that blind date together.
Yeah.
I was a piece of work back then.
Weren't we all, though, Dave?
But we all made mistakes.
Yeah.
But the mistake was overturned, thank God, about 2 weeks later with a second date, then a third date. Then here we are, 43 years, happily married, great friends, unbelievable kids, belong to a great church. And as I said to everybody knows that I say this a lot, the best is yet to come. And I truly, truly believe that.
So about how long were you guys married before you started having kids?
About 4 years.
Okay. Yeah. And was that before any seeds had been planted of you guys starting a church?
Oh, no, yeah.
Kids came way
yeah.
before that. Okay. Yeah. So who was your firstborn?
It was Brian. He's I'll be 39 in August. And then Lindsay came along. She's 37, as you guys know. And then Kevin is 34. And so we were living in Texas when we had Brian, moved out here, and decided to kind of, we need to find a church because we have kids now. I was raised in a Christian family, fell off in high school, and never really kind of came back until we had kids. So we found what was now, or then, NCPC, North Coast Presbyterian Church. And from there, we can talk about that later, but we went there, we both liked it, we both got involved, and then we had Lindsay, and then things just really went challenging.
Yeah, that is kind of like the heart of your guys' story. So you had Brian first. Was that a healthy baby boy? Mm-hmm. Everything good with him?
Everything good.
And how is he like now? If you were to describe his personality, how would you describe Brian?
Oh gosh, stoic, honest, direct, loving, funny, smart,
Good golfer.
Great.
Yeah,
He gets that from his mama.
He's a really good big brother. He's a truth teller. So sometimes that can kind of get him a little bit of trouble because he needs to soften it a little bit, but it's okay. I appreciate his truthfulness and his honesty.
So we're gonna get to Lindsay in a second because that's where so much of the story is. But how about your little one, your Kevin? How would you describe Kevin?
Creative, loves the Lord, a man of character, integrity, hardworking, honest.
Really good looking, ladies.
Oh, is he single? Are we trying to matchmake, Mom? Blind dates?
He's a lot taller than Dad, let me put it that way. So,
Yeah, he's a gem.
And he was a healthy baby too? Yeah? Okay, wonderful. So then let's go back to when you get pregnant with your sweet girl, Lindsay. Did you know in the pregnancy before she was born that there was any kind of health scare at all?
no.
So you had was it a perfect pregnancy?
Yeah, and easy delivery, no problems. And then in hindsight, she slept an awful lot right after birth and just wasn't really super vibrant. And then we took her in for a checkup at 6 weeks, and that was the day that changed our lives. Oh my gosh, we have this really loud murmur. We need to send you down to Children's Hospital like now. So I called him. He was up in Orange County. We came down, and then they did all this diagnostic testing, and our life changed at that point.
So tell us a little bit about that. So was it just a regular checkup? Like was the doctor just, stethoscope, just listening to a heartbeat?
All the things, all that. And just the murmur was so loud, it was alarming to him. So he knew something was up. So from there, we had all this diagnostic testing, and she had single ventricle tricuspid atresia, transposition of major arteries, leaky mitral, and all verbiage. It was super foreign to us.
I mean, you spoke it beautifully, right? But all these words, you're like, what does this mean? And I mean, how long from when you went down to Rady's until you were told what you just told us? Like
in about 3 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then from there it was just formulating a plan of next steps. And so she had her first open heart surgery at 9 weeks. And then she just really was a procedure to kind of get her to a point where she could have a repair operation on her heart. So that held her over until she was 2. And then she had another major open reconstructive of some of her heart. And then again at 6. And in between, she had a pacemaker put in and blah, 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 and lots of other things. So yeah, it was challenging for sure. And we didn't really have a huge church community at that time. We were just kind of getting into NCPC. My mother had already passed away. Our parents really, honestly, they really weren't much help, sadly. So we just had to kind of do it together. The one thing, the advice we got, probably right after her first open heart surgery, we asked the nurse practitioner, how do you raise a kid with all these challenges? She said, the best piece of advice I can give you is treat her just like a normal child. Smack her on the butt. She needs a smack on the butt, and just treat her like a normal child. And so we did the best we could. What do you think?
Well, to add a couple things along that same timeline, Susan found North Coast Presbyterian Church, which later became Coastline. And I won't say she dragged me in, but I was not exactly running in to find a seat in the front row. And in the initial time there, I didn't know God. I thought I could handle everything. Things were going very well at work. Everything came easy to us. 2 great careers, very healthy. First child, just moved into a dream home here in Carlsbad. But God knew that He had to prepare me. He brought me to a church through Susan. Literally, I sat next my first day there, my NFL hero, Brian Sipe from Cleveland. I'm from Cleveland.
Did you talk to him? Did you say anything?
I talked to him. Became my friend. We ended up in children's ministry together. But I go, this is pretty cool. If a guy like Brian Sipe, an athlete, can give himself of the church to God, it is an awesome thing. And I go, I want to hang with him. He got me into a small group. And this is right at the same time that what Susan was saying was happening. And I have to go back to Lindsay's first open heart surgery.
Yeah, she's 9 weeks old.
I did not know God. I could not go into the chapel at Rady's Children's Hospital because I didn't think I was worthy. A member of my men's small group came up to me, grabbed me. We literally fell to the floor, both bawling our eyes out. And he told me, your daughter's going to be okay. We went into the chapel and prayed. The next morning, we had to go to the basement of Sharp Hospital right next door for the surgery. And we're in consultation with the anesthesiologist, the doctors, the nurses, everybody. And Lindsay is literally in the palm of my hand. And they go, we're ready. Susan and I gave Lindsay to the nurse. Not one tear. God took over and he says, I've got her. Yep. And we walked out of there hand in hand and said, everything's going to be fine.
Well, everything wasn't fine, but
we got through it. Our marriage became better. We focused on the Lord. And the church was unbelievable in supporting us with prayers. And a small group, and the love of a small group. First small group I was ever in. That's why I'm a big proponent of small groups here.
Yeah.
Because when that male bond happens, if he hadn't showed up,
Yeah.
the night before his surgery, to fall on my knees with him crying, to go into the chapel, to bring me to the Lord, Lord knows where I'd be. So God works in mysterious good ways. His timing is impeccable. It's never late. And that's just an example of what God has done to me, Susan and me, our family, and preparing us for this journey. Because like 78% of the couples that have children like this don't make it.
Well, I was actually going to ask you that because the amount of stress,
exactly.
the toll is, you know what I mean? The sleepless nights and days, not thinking clearly, probably not eating a lot. I can imagine your appetite went right out the window when you're waiting for your baby to come out of surgery, all this stuff, right? So, if there were rocky moments, what did you two do differently than those other couples that don't make it? What do you think you two did differently to make it together and work on your marriage so you didn't end up apart after all of this?
The number one thing was when Deb, the nurse practitioner, said, treat her like a normal child. And by the way, 67% of marriages with kids with chronic illnesses divorce. And I think that was like literally, as shocking as that statistic was, I think that was the glue that held us together, thinking we're not going to be in that 67%. We didn't ask for this, but God gave this to us. And so we're going to do our best, our level best. And that's exactly what we chose to do. So we had a little teary here. We did our level best to create stability in our home. I was in charge of the home front. He was in charge of working. And we just partnered together ferociously. Our entire marriage, quite frankly. But because of this altercation and challenge, it really made us appreciate what we had in each other and that we could lean on each other. And this is what we did. And we just weren't going to be a statistic. And we were going to give our children, all of them, equal footing and a loving home. And that was just a choice. It was a choice. That's the operative word. It was a choice we made not to be a victim.
Yeah.
And so having this daughter with these continued surgeries throughout her very young life, but wanting to treat her normal, was she able to do sports? Was she, you know what I mean? Was she, any of that stuff? And did she want to? Because I've met your daughter and she's just sassy and has all the personality in the world. So I can imagine she was probably hard to contain.
Well, if you include dancing and ballet sports, yes. She really got into that. That was her ball field. She loved it. She got involved with CYT, acting, dancing. That's where she gained her confidence.
Theater really helped her.
Yeah, it just fed her. Became somewhat of a drama queen at times.
Not a girl.
Title in our home. Yes, she's still a little bit of that today.
So it was. She takes a lot of pride in what she does, but just seeing the confidence in her from the things that she did, and she was in lockstep with the Lord from the beginning. Susan brought me to the Lord, so it became our family bond made us stronger. The church fed into us in such a huge, huge way, visiting the church, praying for us. My men's small group, Susan's small group, just from dinners to prayers, to going out and playing golf just to get a break, having an honest conversation with people. Mm-hmm. We felt we found home. And I don't know where we would be if it wasn't for the church being that glue, that bondage, that just focus on God together.
I think that could go back to it's a choice, because life is, my mantra, his is the best is yet to come. Mine is life is a series of choices. And I think that you have in any situation a choice to be made. And our choice is the long haul. You're going to, in any situation, whether it's health or finance or marriage messes, you have a choice to, what are you going to do in that situation? Are you going to run and hide? Are you going to turn to a substance? What are you going to do? So I encourage everybody that whatever you're going through, really think about the long haul of your choice making, your decision making. And if you can't make it alone, find godly counsel, find somebody that really can pour into you. Because life is pretty dang crazy. There's a lot of distractions and dysfunction in life. But you know what? If you make good choices and you have people around you, you have just a better fighting chance. So I'm not a big proponent of running away and hiding or being a victim, because we certainly could have put ourselves in that category. Why us? But that just wasn't the way God had designed either one of us or our marriage.
That's so beautiful, because that's actually a lingering question in my mind. With someone whose child is born like this and you realize this is going to be a lifelong thing, you hear so many people in any kind of situation like that going, why God, why us? Asking the why. But it sounds like that you two you had the faith not to ever go down that path or question that this whole time.
Well, it's, I'll go back to the blind date. I think God's hand was in that from the beginning. He knew me, he knew Susan, and knew what we could handle together. We're, opposites attract. A lot of us, we get along great. But I am the optimist, she is the realist. Just as an example. So it's a perfect balance. But every time we had a major disaster with Lindsay, if we think back, we were prepared for that based upon a prior event.
Yeah, that's true. It's a building block.
It's a building block, so it's a foundational block to our marriage, our parents, wanting to give back in the community, some of the wisdom and experiences we've had. We made a decision never to fight in front of the kids. You just take that.
Okay. That's a good optimistic idea, but the realist,
We really don't, honestly.
That's amazing, you guys.
We really don't have knockdown dragouts. It just isn't really in either one of our personalities. And I'll give him more credit. I'm probably a little feistier than he is. But he would always kind of do the pause and walk out of the room, or just take it to the Lord, or just sit in a chair, or just get away from me. And so then we each had the opportunity to kind of calm down. So we just never really fought much. And people say, I don't understand that if you don't fight, you don't have a good marriage. I don't know who wrote that line, because I don't believe in that at all. But there's a lot of toxic marriages that do fight, and they still get along. So it's all, but for us, it isn't who we are.
If we did fight, which I don't think we ever have, it was because we didn't want the kids to hear it.
Yeah.
You're trying to build a foundation.
And we weren't perfect together. Trust me. We had our differences, but we just.
No, but this is incredibly great parenting advice, for real. On the making a choice. This comes down to, like you said, you're making a choice not to do that, and so you are intentionally dealing with it differently.
Yeah. Preparing ourselves for knowing something that's going to come.
What about Lindsay? Did you did you have those hard conversations with her? Did she question, why me? Why was this my life? Did you guys ever have those kinds of questions from her? Sure. And so what would your advice be to parents if they have a child coming to them with similar questions about their issue? How do you handle that very difficult conversation?
We used to tell Lindsay that she's a special child of God with a purpose in life. And you might not know that purpose today, but in God, you will find that on His timing. And every step along the way, she would gain more confidence. She would find friends, quickly lose some friends because they weren't the right friends, to get Lindsay where God had her planning on going. But she would meet the right people that would help her. And I mentioned CYT. That was a big, big step in it. But she found the Lord. She believes in it. We could sit here for hours just to answer prayers. Lindsay's answered prayers that gave her hope. And now she's able to do the things she never thought she could do in 37 years. And it's just blowing us away. And it's Lindsay 2.0. She has a new name. It's Lindsay 2.0.
So to answer your question a little bit too, is yes, we had some very difficult conversations along the way, when she couldn't ride a bicycle, or she couldn't go on a roller coaster at Disneyland, or she.
That's interesting. So that's one of the things that she was really not allowed to do because of her physical condition.
Wow. Yeah. We just found ways around that. And eventually she's able to do all those things. But I guess, yes, to answer your question, there were a lot of hard conversations. There have been a lot of tears. There have been a lot of, she will sit here and admit, thank God Instagram wasn't around when she was in high school, because she was so different and so tiny, and she wasn't popular. And so she had all those struggles in her soul. She goes, thank God there wasn't Instagram, because I don't know where I would have been, that comparison trap. So parents, get your kids flip phones. Sorry, but get your kids flip phones. I've told my young moms group, get your kids flip phones. The disaster that Instagram and all those social media platforms has occurred in our young children is frightful. We fortunately kind of missed that, but I see what's happening now. So to your question, she's grateful that she didn't have Instagram and didn't have to deal with that, because she was already so different anyway. But she has managed to overcome her differences by her sense of drive, type A personality like her papa. She has known that she has been given a gift that she has utilized to her benefit. It has come though with a lot of challenge, but she has risen above it. Again, she made that choice too. She will tell you God, she will tell you her family have been the two groups of people that have completely supported her. There's been church too, but really it's God and our family. And so again, parents, hang in there when you have tough times, because there will be tough times, and reach out for help when you need help. Don't be ashamed to ask. Please, I'm begging you, moms and dads, and I mean that in all sincerity, because you just can't do life alone.
It is so hard to ask for help. So it is very encouraging to hear you say that, because
Yeah.
You can't get through
You can't.
that life, or no one can get through life without help. It takes a village.
Yeah, it totally does. It totally does.
It's not tough for women to ask for help. It is a lot tougher, and you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
We guys are a piece of work, and for some odd reason, our ego, our pride, I can't show a weakness, holds guys back from opening up, being transparent, loving on other guys. They got to get to that point. If that man, Doug Smith, had not shown up in that hospital in tears,
Who knows?
just breaking down my walls all at once, I don't know where I would be.
Yeah. Who knows?
So we have got to become guys more like women. If you need help, ask for it. Only you know, men, what you don't know. So let somebody else with more wisdom, more experience come alongside you.
And to the point of how important small groups are in your life, for men, do you think it's easier to ask someone in your small group where you've kind of built a different kind of relationship, a more intimate relationship than the guys at work or in the whatever yard? You know what I mean? So that could be another possible piece of the importance of that small group, is because there's an area where men break down those walls and reveal a little bit more of themselves rather than their everyday life.
I've been involved for 25 years in the Monday Morning Men's Group. And a lot of guys have rotated in and out. By spending time with guys, getting to know their hearts, where they feel trust, the I love yous are flying back and forth. The hugs, the tears, the openness, the lifelong friendships that are being developed out of these small groups is irreplaceable. Yeah. It's not going to happen on Sunday. It starts there. I understand the pressures and things at work. But when these men start opening up, it's just an unbelievable sight. Yeah. And we're all accountability partners for everybody. And we say, if you see me, Dave Barth, not walking the talk, you have every right to get in my face. So we have 12 guys that if anybody starts swaying or asks questions or whatever, it's a go-to moment to love on them. Might be tough love, but that's what's happening. And I don't know how people get through life
Exactly.
without that type of relationship. So, again, I'll say it for the 5th time here. I do not know how people get through life without the love of the Lord and the Holy Spirit getting activated in men, through men, by men. They become better men. They become better godly men. They become better fathers. They become better husbands, grandfathers, hopefully someday.
So I think before we get to more about starting Coastline, I think my last tough question for you is the one that in my mind would be the hardest to ask and to go through. So Lindsay ended up needing to get organ transplants, right? What did she recently, within the last 2 years?
Heart and liver, yeah.
How old was she when you realized or were told she needs this transplant?
Probably about 2019, her body really started to fail.
Okay.
Yeah, and she was retaining an immense amount of water, and it just was driven by a drug she would take, that she would take this drug and then pee it off 10 pounds overnight. And she did this battle for about, 2 years maybe.
Yeah.
She came out here ahead of her husband she knew where this was all going. And so she wanted to be near a transplant organization. UCSD has a double transplant department. Many hospitals just do single transplants. Anyway, she came out here knowing that this is the path she was going to be taking. So she came out here and started that path. And within about probably 6 months or so that she was here, they said, we need to do the evaluation on you to see if you're ready for a transplant. She knew it would be double because she was aware of that. And then they went through the evaluation, correct? And then they put her on a wait list, and that was 4 months. And then she had her transplant. So it was a lot of preparation emotionally, as you can imagine. A lot of question asking, a lot of what's going to happen. And honestly, you really don't know. We had no idea till after the transplant what it was going to look like. It was, it's indescribable what she went through. Without crying, it was indescribable.
You're allowed to cry, just so you know.
It was tough.
Oh, I'll cry.
It was hard.
Yeah, it was hard, and it was in the back of our minds, even going back to the beginning, we knew it was probably going to be a transplant, at least a heart. Mm-hmm. And then with all the medications she's taken over many years, decades, for the heart, affected and basically killed the liver. And one of the major setbacks, because she's always wanted to go to college. And her freshman year, with her condition, because she was taken care of at home, she ate right, didn't drink or whatever, but she got to college as a freshman. And college as a freshman, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But then we got a phone call that we found your daughter walking around campus like she was drunk. And she had a stroke. She was having a stroke.
Oh my gosh.
Blood clot, from bad heart. And she was in hospital up there for about 3 weeks, and we brought her home in anticipation that things are going to have to get done at an accelerated rate. But God provided, and we could go back on the timelines up to the transplant, just miracle after miracle after miracle. Everything just falling in place. And then we found out the doctor that did her original surgery when she was 9 weeks old was the youngest one they'd ever done.
She was.
And he was a consultant at UCSD and showed up on Lindsay's bedside.
I mean,
That
is
35
beautiful.
years later.
That is beautiful.
Now we call him John instead of Dr. Lambert.
Yeah,
We've become friends.
you've crossed that line. He's forever attached to you.
Yeah. I think to your question though, I don't think you can ever prepare for something like that. And so you just take one day at a time. And there were some major setbacks after the transplant. And they said that the first 90 days would be excruciating, and they were. Watching her get her life back, she didn't get to shower for 19 days. She could hardly walk. She gained water weight. I mean, it was just a lot of struggles. But then, I just got to say, you just be patient, and you just take one day at a time, and eventually things start to turn around. And you look at her today, she's just this petite little firebomb.
Yes.
She's incredible. She has incredible poise, incredible faith. She has an incredible personality. She is just, she is a miracle. Yeah.
Okay, so this is maybe part B to the hard question. And I think this would be directed to someone listening who might be facing a situation where they're praying for a transplant. I can't imagine what it's like praying for the transplant to happen, knowing at the cost of which, is on the other end of that. How did you guide prayer? How did you face the weight of, I'm so sorry that it's making you cry. That the answer to save Lindsay's life was, to cost like that. I just think that is something unimaginable. So just, do you have advice for someone about how to pray through that? And if it's too much, we can skip this.
No, we're probably going to fight to see who goes first.
You go for it.
It goes back to God's got it. And you truly, truly have to believe that. Not 99%. You believe it, he's got it, he's going to take care of it. Now, Lindsay did say, if this doesn't work out, I'm going to be in heaven. And she truly understood that. If it does work out, this transplants, then I have Lindsay 2.0, which is a huge win for me and others. The people that I can touch with her ministry. She's trying to figure out what she wants to do. And there's a toll here also. And we didn't recognize this, but it really hit Lindsay. It says somebody had to give their life for her to live. Because we focused on Lindsay's physical well-being.
Yeah.
That was all taken care of. But the mental, she has to live with that.
To answer, I thought that was more the direction of your question, because there probably is not a day that goes by that she doesn't value her donor. So she is involved in a nonprofit organization where she speaks to pharmacology students, she speaks to nursing students, she speaks to firefighters, she speaks to parents to say the gift of life is such a blessing. She did write a letter to her donor family to see if she could meet them. It's usually a 50-50.
I'm sure,
and
yeah.
This 50% did not respond, which she's totally fine with. But she gives so much glory to the Lord, and she gives so much glory to her donor family. When she's celebrating her first, they're celebrating their first of a loss. And so she has great gratitude and thankfulness for this family allowing her to have a second chance. And we don't know. We just know that the person was somebody local, and it was a youth. So that means 12 to 20. So somebody lost their child. They didn't lose their 70-year-old dad or grandpa. They lost their child for her to live. So that's, it's kind of mind-blowing, but it's such gratitude. And she lives in gratitude. Absolutely. And so do we. Yeah.
And she lives part of her life for a person she doesn't know.
Yeah.
But that doesn't stop her from doing what she can do with his heart and liver, or her heart and liver. I don't even know.
She'll honor that.
Yeah, absolutely.
The rest of her life, she will
does.
honor that.
She does. Yeah.
I know.
We just got back from hiking in Sedona, Lindsay and I, and this was a dream that she could be able to even hike.
Oh.
And it was beautiful. I mean, we just had a wonderful time appreciating that she could do the things she couldn't do all her life. Yeah, could she walk, but hike, no. So it was beautiful. So we're grateful, blessed. Yeah.
And now that Lindsay's doing so well, Dave and Sue can get back to doing a lot of the things that we like to do. So thank you to our
Absolutely.
So thank you to our friends for your patience, your prayers.
Absolutely.
We're back. So
Yes. Dave and Susan 2.0 as well. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I can imagine it will never get easier to talk about, but I just think it's such an important thing to share, what you all went through. And so I'm very grateful that you were so willing to open up about that. So at what point, let's go back to the start of Coastline. You guys this is at first NCP.
NCPC. North Coast Presbyterian Church.
And there was a split, and you guys found yourselves with a few other members basically here on this lot. And I mean, I've heard the rumors, right? There's a prayer rock here, right? Something like that. You all prayed over a rock that's up in the parking lot.
It's still there.
It's still there. I would love to hear all about that.
well, it started in was it 1994? The split.
94, 95.
94, 90 split. NCPC was about 800, and literally 400 left the church. And we were nomads in North County. Mm-hmm. The youth pastor was James Christofferson at NCPC, but he was a founding pastor of Coastline Community Church at the time. We were at the Hilton for many years. Okay. Mm-hmm. The guys putting up the chairs every Sunday morning and taking them down. No, thank you. Glad those days are over. We were at Santa Fe Christian in the prayer chapel.
Oh, yeah.
Then they built the gym at Santa Fe Christian, and we went into the gym for a couple years. And Santa Fe Christian was great in working with us and trying to make things work to do church services. And then we went over to
511 Encinitas Boulevard, a strip mall, basically.
in Encinitas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of over by Smart and Final.
Yeah.
And we were over there, and we were growing. But we wanted our own church. So we found out this property was designated before all these homes were built for a church. So we started praying over this property.
And there was nothing on it at that point.
Nothing on this property. And all the homes started to be built. And all of a sudden, all the homes were built, and there's a big plot of land, 6.7 acres, for sale for about $600,000. which is really cheap.
cheap now when you think about
I was
it.
gonna say at the time, yeah.
Now, we had to add a couple $100,000 to level it and everything like that we didn't figure out. But there was a credit union, because we had no money, so we will lend you the money if you do pledges. See, the original Coastline people pledged $600,000 to buy the property. 3 years later, 98.1% of the pledges came through.
Wow.
Had no money, and the rest is history. We prayed over this property.
So was that rock just a piece of this property? I'm very curious about this rock. Was that something that just happened to be here? Because I feel like that was an important piece, right? You would meet at this rock.
It was a very important piece. That rock that you referred to about 45 minutes ago is up by the prayer chapel. That rock used to be in the farthest southwest corner of our property, and that's where we used to pray over this property. The elders would meet there, discuss there, cry there. How are we going to pay for this here, if we're granted this
Yes.
property? And we made some covenants with God. If we are blessed with this property, there are a couple things that we will do. One, we will build a prayer chapel, which we did. The other one was we were going to build a children's, the focus DNA of the church was going to be for the children. A light on top of the hill, representing all the homes that were around here. And that was a covenant we made with God. That's one of the reasons why our sanctuary wasn't as big as it was, because we wanted to start small. And the next big building was going to be the building we're in right now, for the kids.
This beautiful, beautiful family building. Yeah.
Now, if I can add to this story a little bit,
Yes. Color it up, Dave.
there were 40 leaders at Coastline, and we went through about an 8-week training session. What's the DNA of a church? What do you want the culture to be? How are you going to compete in this community? And at the end of the training, the leader goes, you're going to break up into 4 groups of 10. And in a week, you're going to come back with a leader and give a presentation. What has God said to you? What has God laid on your heart that you want Coastline to be? No overheads, no handouts.
It was a big poster board things that they were drawing on.
It was a mural. You come back and paint a picture and talk from your heart what's on the picture. Okay? See you in a week. We come back a week later. First group goes. Big mural, light on the top of the hill, all the homes around here, I'm getting excited again.
Yes.
All the kids leading other kids and their parents up to the hill because of the attraction of God for children at Coastline. That was a mural.
Okay.
Okay. Second group goes. Same identical thing. And we couldn't talk, the leaders. The third one went. Identical to the other 2.
Stop it.
The fourth leader gets up. I give up. Ours says the same exact thing.
Obviously, children were a focus.
Dude.
The focus. Now, we thought that was going to be for our children. But this happened like 25 years later.
Children's children.
But it's God's timing.
How prophetic.
But the original covenant was honored. And when Aaron came here, he got it, 100% supported it. Built this before obviously the sanctuary. And to see this place full with kids right now, children, parents,
And the school.
hand in hand.
And the school now.
Yes.
Well, one of the things was we wanted to have a school here. And we had tried before, but the legislation and insurance is impossible. So now we associated with the school that is here, where they do all that. We're just honoring them with the space.
Yeah.
Their words, not mine. They could not do this without the love and the deal they got at Coastline for these children.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, about 3 months ago, I was supposed to meet a gentleman here, and he was a half hour late. So 8 o'clock, he showed up at 8:30, and I was pissed.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, no.
We want to
I'm late. I'm going like this. But for a half hour, I saw the parents dropping off their children, running into the school hand in hand, the parents going down there and volunteering with the children, and then playing on the playground. It was those murals.
Oh, Dave.
revisited.
I got to see.
Yes.
In living color.
And the school this last year had 45 students. 45 students are coming back because they're so successful, and they're doubling in size next year.
That is incredible.
That is, you just,
Who knows?
you go, thank you, God, your timing, it's happening.
Yes.
It's here.
It's there.
Yeah.
All because, and you got to see that because like I was late. I just love every piece of it. That's my favorite. Looking back at stories and seeing God connecting all the dots, every single point.
So I don't know who is going to see this podcast, but you know who you are. The original Coastliners, I got to say thank you for honoring your pledge, for praying over this property, for putting up the tents on this property, and we let the doves out that flew around and then came back trying to honor this property. And God's at work. It's God's church. It's a beautiful thing, as long as we're patient.
If I can just add one thing, I know we need to probably wrap up. We're chatting forever. I think that it's important wherever you plant yourself to stay at a church for the long haul because of the fruits of what has happened for us. I know that's not possible for everybody. So my encouragement has always been if you have an issue and you need to leave a church, any church, find another place to plug into because it's just really hard to do life alone. And Coastline might not be for you, but there's a church down the road. There's many good churches in North County. And so we happen to be passionate about here because we're still here 30-something years later. But the fruit of the long haul, it has so many blessings and so many blessings. So that's just a little plug for all you people here at Coastline. Hang in there.
Well, I have a plug for you too. I want to say, if you've been listening to this podcast and it's just really the strings on your heart are just tugging to find community, to lock in here, to join a small group, especially, with them at the helm of this, I would say go ahead and email podcast@coastlinechurch.org if you want any information on small groups, on community. I will help, get you connected with Susan and Dave, because it really, it's changed my life as well. And I just would echo everything they're saying, that's really where you need to really plant your roots first in these small groups. We can't do this life alone. We all have our own crazy, wild stories. And no matter how big or small, especially if you're dealing with something, on a much smaller scale, it's still important. And there's still people here like these two who love you and want to connect with you and want to help you through this, all of us. And that's the whole point of this, you guys. That's the point. What we're trying to convey right now is that, Coastline Connections, we want to connect this community even more so than they have already started. So thank you guys. Thank you for your faithfulness. Thank you for hearing God's voice and being obedient. Thank you for the blessing of this church. My husband and I, and so many of us just owe you guys so much. You raised your hand, Dave. Would you like to speak?
Because I really didn't answer a prior question of yours that fits into what you just said.
Okay, yeah.
If there are couples in this community that are having challenges, health, with their child, we are more than open with love to meet with you. Outside church, outside small group, just one-on-one, to really, really open up and be.
Especially if it's struggling in your marriage about it. Obviously we're here.
So on that note, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will be back next week with another episode of Grace-Based Living with Pastor Aaron and Amanda, and they just keep getting better and better with every episode. And we'll see you two on Sunday. Thanks, Dave and Susan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us on the Coastline podcast today. And let me tell you, if you ever have a question for myself or my wife or any of our guests, or would love to hear a show about or a question about, email us at podcast@coastlinechurch.org, and we'd love to respond to you. Now, before you sign out, please like, subscribe, or follow whatever device you are on or platform you are following us with today so that you never miss an episode. I'm grateful to get to do this together. Thank you for joining us.